Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News. This is the first show of 2014, so it's a happy new year from us here first of all. Today we're going to do something a little bit different from our usual show. First we'll take a look back at some of the stories since we went on air in November, then we're going to look ahead and discuss what we have to look forward to in the coming year. I have three guests with me today in the studio. John Meehan, former editor of the Hull Daily Mail, will be talking to me about social media's role in the Hull City of Culture. Author Peter Steele will be discussing World War I as we commemorate the centenary in 2014, and Stu Cox will be talking about the sporting year ahead. The region hit national headlines after a tidal surge caused severe floods in December. Here's a story we ran about the impact on North East Lincolnshire. The clean-up is now well underway from what was the biggest tidal surge in 60 years. But despite a severe flood warning in North East Lincolnshire, it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Well, basically it's working with emergency services, it's working with the police and the fire brigade, Environment Agency, Coast Guard, to make sure that we keep people safe at all times.
The River Humber breached sea defences, causing extensive damage in North Lincolnshire and on the North Bank. Although Cleethorpes got off lightly, people living close to the sea saw the impact.
A lot of the dikes are not flooded, but a lot of the dikes have filled up. Last night we was probably 2 foot from overflowing. We've had sandbags delivered so that they've been laid down to prevent any breach that might occur. And then we're dealing, obviously, then I've just come back from a report from a distressed seal, so we're getting seals washed up and generally wildlife.
Maybe now we'll be safe for another 60 years, but then maybe we won't. If this experience has taught us anything, it's to be prepared. You never know what's around the corner.
So we had a lot of plans that I'm pleased to say that we didn't need, but we could have had, and that just shows how serious it could have been when the tidal wave hit us at Cleethorpes.
Now that was the bad news, but here's the good news. Hull was the word on everyone's lips when it was named UK City of Culture 2017 last year, beating off competition from the likes of Leicester and favourite Swansea. Here's the inspirational video that helped them do it.
A place cannot produce poems, it can only not prevent them. And Hull is good at that, for Hull has its own sudden elegancies. People are slow to leave it, quick to return. And there are others who come for a year or two and stay a lifetime, sensing that they've found a city that is in the world, yet sufficiently on the edge of it to have a different resonance. Let me tell you something about this city. All of us, we're all just passing through, and we've all been here forever. Those who came, those who stayed, those who never returned. Tides turn, seasons change. We've waited and we've watched. But we've always been here. We've always listened. Because there is a different resonance here. It comes from the river, and the land, and the sky.
It's our place, all of us.
This city belongs to everyone.
And you know when it's your time.
And it's our time.
Listen! Listen! We are Hull!
Listen!
The golden rules of Hull.
Don't pretend you're something you're not.
Don't go thinking that you're better than anybody else.
Or that anyone else is better than you.
Don't shout about it, get on with it.
We are Hull!
Hull! Hull! Hull! We found our voice again.
And rules are meant to be broken because that's how things get done.
I come from Poland and Hull.
I'm from Albania and Hull.
I'm from New Zealand and Hull.
I'm from Edinburgh and Hull.
The butcher,
the baker,
the cobbler, the photographer,
the DJ, the dancer,
the TV presenter.
All of us.
All of us. Everybody. We are Hull.
The past is ours.
The future is ours.
It's our time again.
It's our time again. And this city belongs to everyone. The playwright,
the greengrocer,
the magician, the teacher, the artist, the dog.
This space is ours.
This light is ours.
The worlds are ours.
The rivers are ours.
The roads are ours.
The bridges are ours.
We are Hull.
We are Hull.
We're all visitors.
And we've all been here forever.
We've got the mightiest river and the biggest sky.
And there's a resonance again.
We love this city.
We're proud of this place.
And we want you to love it too.
And this city belongs to everyone. Their freedom is founded in our freedom.
Come here and you'll feel it. That end of the line sense of freedom. Say yes to Hull. Say yes to freedom.
My first guest is John Meehan, former editor of the Hull Daily Mail, who now works in PR and was part of the team using social media to promote the bid. First of all, John, what sort of a role did social media play in that bid?
Well, social media demonstrated that Hull was really behind this bid. There was a huge amount of activity at key points which caught the other bidding cities on a standing start, and we were able to demonstrate through the volume of social media support that Hull really wanted it and really deserved to win the bid.
Now, as far as social media, we've won the bid now, but is that over, or does it still have a role to play?
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. What's happening now is we're moving into the stage where we're going to be ready to deliver the bid. So there's lots of organisational and planning activity going on. But it's very important that the local community is engaged. They know how to get involved. They know how to volunteer. They know what's happening. So that momentum and that huge support is maintained right up to 2017.
And is it just 2017 we've got to look forward to, or is there things going on in the meantime?
No. What will happen is there will be a growing momentum. So events and festivals will grow in scale leading up to 2017, and the city's capacity to deliver cultural events will grow during that period. And 2017 will be a year the like of which we've never seen before. And
finally, you know, it's great news for Hull, which we all know. But will it benefit anyone else? Will the South Bank see any?
I think it will. There's an estimate of about £180 million of benefit for the Hull area in tourism alone over about a 4-year period. But I think in terms of accommodation, in terms of people taking the opportunity to see the wider area, I think there'll certainly be a benefit. And I think for arts and cultural groups near Hull but outside Hull, I think they'll also be involved.
Great. Now, this year we commemorate the outbreak of the First World War in 1914. It was a worldwide struggle that affected every corner of the globe. And here with me today I have Peter Steele, who's done a great deal of research into what people here in Lincolnshire did for the war effort. Now, Peter, tell me a little bit about the research that you have done.
Well, my particular interest is in a battalion which was raised for service in the First World War. And they were known locally as the Grimsby Chums. They were part of the Lincolnshire Regiment.
And you spoke to a lot of people in the late 70s and the early 80s, didn't you, that actually served as part of that regiment?
That's correct. I managed to get a number of stories on tape from the veterans who were still alive in the late 70s, early 80s, and I'm working those into a 3rd volume of Chums history.
How did they recall those memories to you? Were they fond memories, sad memories?
Some of them were extremely moving when they dealt with the death of their pals who joined up with them. But there was also a lot of humour. It was a very stoic generation. They talked about their training at Brocklesby and elsewhere in the UK before they went over to France. And it was a very, very enjoyable time before they went into action and so many of their friends were killed.
And you're hoping to get that into a book soon, are you not?
Yes, it's been on the blocks for a couple of years, but I'm hoping to complete it within the next 12 months.
Now, what happened to the chums in World War One?
Well, they trained for about 18 months, 2 years in the UK, and then they went over to France in January 1916. Their first big battle was the first day of the Somme, in July the 1st, and about 161 men were killed. About the same number were injured. So 1916 is the year that the chums are particularly remembered for. But they did go on in 1917 and 1918 to be involved in several large confrontations with the German troops at that time.
Now, the actual battalion doesn't exist now, but is it still important that we do remember them?
Well, 810 members of the battalion were killed in the duration of the war. They were part of 2,100 people who were killed from the Grimsby area, and I think it is very important for their descendants to know that the rest of us have not forgotten them.
Well, thanks very much to both of you for coming in today.
Pleasure.
You're welcome.
So finally, here with me today, I've got Estuary TV's own Stu Cox from On the Bench. Stu, everyone's talking about the World Cup, but I want to talk to you about the 3 local clubs next year. So we've got Grimsby Town currently playing non-league football. We've got Scunthorpe United in League 2 and Hull City in the top flight. But will they all be in those same leagues this time next year?
Well, you hope that Grimsby and Scunthorpe won't. You hope that they get promoted, and you hope that Hull do stay in the Premier League. They're having a really good season so far. They've had a couple of big wins, especially against Liverpool just a few weeks ago when they beat them 3-1. Scunthorpe, that's all dependent on their run-up. Obviously, they've sacked the manager after their defeat to Grimsby in November. They've had a caretaker manager in. They're looking at appointing a new manager.
Can they do it?
It depends. I think a lot of it will go down on the transfer window this month. I think you look at previous January transfer windows for other teams and it hasn't worked out for them.
What about Grimsby Town? They're having a good start.
Yeah, they're playing fantastically well at the moment. I think the heartache of the playoffs last year might spur them on to actually go one better and get promoted back to the Football League.
And finally, obviously, we've talked about the leagues. What about the stadiums? Grimsby and Scunthorpe, both looking at new stadiums. Do they have a chance in securing that this year?
Grimsby, more so than Scunthorpe, I think. I think wherever the stadium's going to be in Grimsby, it's going to be, you know...
It'll be controversial.
Yeah, there's going to be a petition about, oh, you can't have it here because...
But it's really important to them, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. You look at what Hull did, League 2 to the Premier League in, what, nigh on 10 years?
Yeah, that was brilliant, wasn't it? OK, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Stu. That's all from Estuary TV News here today. Join Emma tomorrow morning for the Bulletin.
Catch up with Everything Community. Engaged Monday to Friday at 4:25, and catch it again at 7:35. Find out what's top of the Sports Discussion League this week. Join the team for new episodes of On the Bench, Tuesdays at 6.